My dear Capricorn, I see you. I see what you have been carrying. I see the version of you that has been holding everyone else's lives together for so many years that you have forgotten what it feels like to set the weight down. I want to start this video by telling you something I think you need to hear before anything else. The year you are walking through is asking you to come home to yourself in a way you have been postponing for decades. Your ruling planet Saturn has been in your fourth house since February, slowly restructuring your relationship with home, family, and your own emotional foundations. Jupiter just entered your eighth house on June 30th, beginning 13 months of expansion in joint money, intimacy, and deep transformation. On July 23rd, Mercury stations direct and unlocks the partnership conversations you have been postponing. On July 26th, the North Node enters your second house of money, exactly where Pluto has been since 2024, making the next 18 months your destiny corridor for personal worth. And on July 29th, the full moon perfects in your own sign at 6 degrees of Capricorn, your annual personal peak. 5 major astrological events compressed into 18 days. July is the most concentrated month of your year so far. I am Madame Aurora, 35 years studying the stars from my office in Manhattan. And I want to be honest with you, my dear Capricorn, because honesty is what your sign respects more than any other. July is not a quiet month. It is the month the universe asks you to do something you almost never do: receive. Capricorn is the sign of providing, achieving, carrying, building. You give, you hold, you produce. July is the month the universe gives back. Joint money expands through Jupiter in your 8th house. Personal worth deepens through the North Node arriving on Pluto in your money house. Your own emotional life crystallizes during the Capricorn Full Moon. 3 different chambers of receiving open in the same month. The Capricorn who walks through July ready to receive arrives at August 12th, when the eclipse on Jupiter in your 8th house will be one of the most financially defining days of your decade, prepared for what is coming. The Capricorn who refuses to receive, who keeps giving and producing through the month, arrives at August 12th exhausted. Stay with me. What I am about to share will reshape how you walk through the most consequential 6 weeks of your year. Before I take you any further, I want to acknowledge something. Capricorn is the most underestimated sign when it comes to emotional life. The world sees you as serious, ambitious, capable, reliable. The world rarely sees how much you actually feel underneath that. You have spent your whole life carrying things. For your family, for your partner, for your children, for your career, for your community, and rarely have you allowed yourself to be the one carried. 2026 is the year that begins to shift. The North Node arriving on Pluto in your money house on July 26th is asking a question Capricorn has avoided answering for years. What are you actually worth, separate from what you produce? The next 18 months will not let you avoid the question anymore. But first, let me tell you about Patricia. Patricia is a Capricorn client of mine from Boston, born in early January, who came to me in July of 2014, 12 years ago this very month, the last time Jupiter had just entered Leo and her 8th house. Patricia was 53 then. She had been a senior partner at a law firm for 26 years, mother of 3, married for 31 years to a kind man who had become more roommate than partner, and the eldest daughter responsible for her aging parents. She came to me one afternoon and said, "Aurora, Mercury is retrograde. My partnership is making me sign documents I do not understand, and I feel like the universe is asking me to look at things I have been refusing to look at for 30 years. Should I push through?" I told her, "Patricia, my darling, you cannot push through what is happening. Jupiter just entered your 8th house. The North Node will be entering your 2nd house at the end of this month. Your ruling planet Saturn is doing the slow work in your 4th house, restructuring your foundations. The universe is asking you to do something Capricorn finds difficult, to stop performing reliability and start examining what is actually beneath the reliability. The 8th house is the house of what we share with another and what we hide. The next 13 months will surface what has been hidden in your closest relationships, including the financial structures of those relationships. You cannot push through this. You can only walk through it consciously. The Capricorn who fights the 8th house Jupiter transit emerges depleted. The Capricorn who walks through it consciously emerges transformed. She listened. She used the rest of July to slow down, not push through. By autumn, she had started couples therapy with her husband, the first time in 31 years. By the following spring, she had reorganized the family financial structures she had been hiding from for decades. By the end of the Jupiter transit a year later, she had received a sizable inheritance from a relative she had barely known, which gave her the financial security to renegotiate her partnership at the firm. By 2 years after the transit, she had reduced her hours at the firm by half. By 3 years, she had retired and started a small consulting practice. Today, 12 years later, Patricia tells me that the Jupiter in 8th house year, combined with the North Node moving through her money house, was the year she stopped performing strength and started receiving care. She told me, only last winter, that the woman she was at 53 would not have believed who she is at 65. The same kind of becoming is now arriving for you, my dear Capricorn. Now, before I take you any further, my darling, I want to pause for just a moment. If what I am sharing is landing for you, if Patricia's story made you recognize something in yourself, even for a second, tap that little like button just below this video. It is a tiny gesture, but it tells YouTube to bring this kind of guidance to more Capricorn souls who are quietly carrying too much. So many Capricorns are at the threshold of the most receiving year they have had in 12, and looking for permission to actually receive. Your like helps them find this video. And if you are not yet subscribed, this is the moment. July is the bridge to August 12th, and that eclipse on Jupiter in your 8th house will be one of the most financially defining days of your decade. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you do not miss the August forecast. I am preparing a day-by-day breakdown of the eclipse week. Now let me show you what is actually happening in your chart this July. Here is the month, transit by transit. July opens with Jupiter newly settled in Leo and your 8th house, with Mercury still retrograde in your 7th house, and with Mars in your 6th house giving you steady, slow-building work and health momentum. The first week of July is a bridge week. The universe has just changed configuration, and you are adjusting. Things to do. Observe. Pay attention to what is happening in your closest one-on-one partnerships. Notice what your partner is saying, what they are not saying, what feels different. Mars in your 6th house through August 11th means daily life and health matters are receiving steady energy all month. Things not to do. Do not sign a major partnership contract, finalize a divorce, formalize a business partnership decision, or commit to a major joint financial arrangement in the first 3 weeks of July. Mercury retrograde in your 7th house is asking you to review your partnerships, not commit to new structures. Use the time well. Now let me give you the most important date of the first half of the month. On July 11th, at 5:41 in the morning Pacific Time, Venus leaves Gemini and enters Cancer, your 7th house of partnership. Venus in your 7th house for the next 3 weeks brings warmth and grace to your closest relationships. For partnered Capricorns, July 11th through early August often brings a softening in the relationship. A tender moment that has been missing returns. A conversation that has been stuck opens. An act of care from your partner that has not happened in a while arrives. For single Capricorns, Venus in your 7th house often brings romantic interest, frequently from someone serious, professional, or older. Capricorns often draw partners through respected contexts when Venus is in their opposite sign. But because Mercury is retrograde in the same house, do not formalize new relationships before July 23rd. Wait, before I continue, I need to interrupt myself because something significant happens just 3 days after Venus changes signs. On July 14th, at 1:44 in the morning Pacific Time, a new moon perfects at 22 degrees 36 minutes of Cancer in your 7th house of partnership. New moons begin chapters. But this one happens during Mercury retrograde in your partnership house, with your ruling planet Saturn in your 4th house demanding deep emotional reconfiguration. So this is not a normal new moon, my darling. It is a setting intentions quietly new moon. Not a launch, not an announcement, a planting of seeds underground. I want to be specific here. The Capricorns who use this new moon best do not begin new partnerships, formalize engagements, finalize divorces, or commit to new business partnerships on or around July 14th. They use it to set internal intentions about what kind of partnership they actually want now, in their 40s or 50s or 60s, separate from what they wanted in their 20s or 30s. What does honest partnership look like for the version of you the Saturn in 4th house work has been quietly building? What are you no longer willing to perform in love? What kind of partner can hold the version of you that is emerging? Write these answers down on July 14th or 15th. Put the list somewhere private. Then on July 23rd, when Mercury stations direct, begin acting on the list. The new moon is for the dreaming. The Mercury direct station is for the doing. And there is something else about this new moon that most astrologers will miss. It happens at 22 degrees of Cancer, squared by Mars in late degrees of Gemini at that moment. Mars in your 6th house, square the new moon in your 7th house, means there may be a tension between your daily life obligations and your partnership needs during the second week of July. Work may demand more of you while your partnership is asking for more presence. The right move is honoring both, but being honest that work has been getting more of you than partnership for too long. Pause for just one moment, my darling. I know this is a lot. I have been putting hours into this video, researching the exact degrees, the exact times, the way the transits actually land on a Capricorn chart, because you deserve real guidance, not generic horoscopes. If this is bringing you value, would you do me 3 small things? Like this video. It tells YouTube this matters. Subscribe and turn on the bell if you have not yet. August's video will cover the entire week of the August 12th eclipse on Jupiter in your 8th house, day by day. And that is the most important video I will publish all year for Capricorns. You absolutely cannot miss the eclipse preparation. And write to me in the comments. Even one sentence. Other Capricorns in this comment section are reading and recognizing themselves. We are becoming a community now. Thousands of Capricorns all walking through the same receiving year together. Come be part of it. Now let me continue. Now comes the most important single date of the first half of your month, July 23rd. At 9:58 in the morning Pacific time, Mercury stations direct at 16 degrees 48 minutes of Cancer in your 7th house. After almost 4 weeks of internal review, Mercury turns forward. For Capricorn, the Mercury direct station this time happens in your partnership house, which means what unlocks on July 23rd is your closest one-on-one relationships. The partner you have been quietly observing finally says what they have been thinking. The business partnership conversation that has been stuck becomes productive. The divorce papers, if relevant, become signable. The marriage proposal you have been considering becomes deliverable. The contract negotiation with a key collaborator becomes concludable. Things to do on or after July 23rd: have the partnership conversation you have been avoiding. Sign the business contract you have been weighing. Make the decision about the relationship that has been pending. Formalize the new partnership structure. Begin couples therapy if you have been considering it. Things you can finally do without resistance from the universe. But the timing must be precise. Do not formalize a major partnership commitment before July 23rd, no matter how impatient you are. The cost of premature commitment during Mercury retrograde in your partnership house is high. What you commit to during retrograde often needs to be renegotiated within months. Wait the extra week. The universe is offering perfect timing if you respect it. I want to interrupt myself again, my darling, because I need to talk about July 26th, which is one of the most important dates in your entire 18-month period. On July 26th, at 9:38 in the morning Pacific time, the lunar nodes shift signs. The North Node, the point of soul destiny, leaves Pisces and enters Aquarius. The South Node, the point of soul release, leaves Virgo and enters Leo. For the next 18 months, until January of 2028, the eclipses will happen on the Aquarius-Leo axis. For you, my darling, this is profoundly significant. The North Node will be in your 2nd house of money, income, possessions, and personal value, exactly where Pluto has been since 2024. The South Node will be in your 8th house of joint money, shared resources, intimacy, and deep transformation, exactly where Jupiter just arrived. And here is what most astrologers will not tell you. Having the North Node arrive on Pluto in your 2nd house is rare. It is the universe's specific invitation to address what you are actually worth, separately from what you produce, separately from what others give you. And having the South Node simultaneously enter your 8th house at the same moment Jupiter is there creates a particular paradox. Jupiter expands joint money and shared resources at the same time the South Node asks you to release something about how you have been entangled in joint financial structures. What does this mean practically? The North Node in your 2nd house from late July is asking you to develop your own personal financial life, your own income, your own sense of personal worth, separately from the structures you have been entangled in. The South Node in your 8th house, even as Jupiter expands it, is asking you to release patterns of over-merging financially with others, of giving more than you receive in joint arrangements, of carrying the financial weight of family members or partners in ways that have not been fair to you. The next 18 months are the universe's invitation to come home to your own money, Not to abandon partnerships or family obligations, but to develop the personal financial foundation that allows you to participate in joint structures from strength rather than from dependency or overgiving. This combination, North Node on Pluto in your second house, South Node on Jupiter in your eighth house, is one of the most personally significant configurations a Capricorn can receive. It means the next 18 months will reshape your relationship with money at the deepest possible level. Pay attention. The full moon on July 29th at 6 degrees 53 minutes of Capricorn, your sign, falls in your own first house. This is your annual personal full moon, my darling. It happens once a year, and it is the moment your own emotional and personal life crystallizes most clearly. The Capricorn full moon, combined with Mercury direct, the lunar nodes recently shifted, and Jupiter newly in your eighth house, makes the final week of July one of the most concentrated weeks of your year. Many Capricorns will look at themselves in the mirror on July 29th and recognize someone they have not been before. Some will make a major personal decision. Some will end a chapter of their own life and begin a new one. Some will declare publicly something they have been carrying privately. The Capricorn full moon is the universe asking, who have you become this year, and what do you want to claim about it? I want to stop for a moment, my darling, because I know I have been giving you a lot. Let me make it simple. 4 dates to remember this month. July 14th, your partnership intentions new moon. July 23rd, Mercury stations direct. Partnership conversations unlock. July 26th, the lunar nodes shift onto your 2-8 financial axis. July 29th, your annual personal full moon in your sign. Those 4 dates are the spine of your month. Everything else is texture. Let me give you the week-by-week breakdown briefly. First week, July 1st through 7th. Jupiter is settling into your 8th house. Mercury is still retrograde. Mars is in your 6th house. Use this week for observation. Notice what is happening in your relationships and shared resources. Second week, July 8th through 14th. Venus enters your 7th house on the 11th. The new moon on the 14th begins your partnership intentions chapter. Write down what kind of partnership you want now, in private. Third week, July 15th through 21st. The momentum is building. Mercury is preparing to station direct. Use the days before the 23rd to do final reflection on your partnership decisions. Fourth week, July 22nd through 28th. The portal week. July 23rd, Mercury direct, partnership conversations unlock. July 26th, lunar nodes shift onto your money axis. The 18-month financial destiny corridor begins. Fifth week, July 29th through 31st. The Capricorn full moon on the 29th in your sign. Your annual personal peak. Honor it. Sleep extra. Prepare for August. But before I move to your area-by-area forecast, I need to interrupt myself one more time and tell you something difficult. Because there is a shadow side to the Jupiter in 8th house transit combined with the South Node in the same house, and I would not be honest with you if I did not name it. Let me tell you about Eleanor. Eleanor was a Capricorn client of mine from Chicago, born in early January, who came to me in 2015, halfway through the previous Jupiter in 8th house transit. Eleanor had had a beautiful early Jupiter 8th house transit. She had received an unexpected inheritance from a great aunt she had barely known. The inheritance was modest but meaningful. But Eleanor made a Capricorn mistake, and I have seen this pattern in many of you. She used the financial security to avoid the deeper psychological work the 8th house was also asking for. She told herself she did not need therapy because she now had money. She told herself her marriage was fine because she could now afford to ignore the parts that were not working. She took the money and refused the deeper invitation. By the end of the Jupiter transit, the surface security was real, but the marriage had quietly collapsed and the family relationships had grown more distant. She came back to see me in 2017 and said, "Aurora, I took the money and ignored the work. I have to do the work now anyway, and it is harder without Jupiter's help. My dear Capricorn, please hear this. Jupiter in your 8th house will likely bring financial expansion in the next 13 months. Receive it. Be grateful, but do not let the financial expansion be the only thing you take from the transit. The deeper work, the intimacy, the inner life examination, the surrender of control, the willingness to be honest about what has been hidden in your closest relationships, is the real harvest. The money is the surface. And especially with the South Node in your 8th house from July 26th, the universe is specifically asking you to release the patterns of using financial control to avoid emotional intimacy. The Capricorns who do both, receive the money and do the work, arrive at 2027 transformed at the level of the soul. The Capricorns who do only the surface, arrive at 2027 richer, but still locked out of their own depth. Let me walk you through each area of your life now, briefly. Love and relationships. The dominant story of the second half of your year. The Venus transit through your 7th house from July 11th brings warmth into your closest partnerships. The new moon on July 14th begins a partnership intentions chapter. The Mercury direct station on July 23rd unlocks partnership conversations. The Saturn-Neptune work in your 4th house all year affects partnership through home and family. Many Capricorns are renegotiating the balance between their partnership and their family obligations. The August 12th eclipse will be the major partnership financial turning point. Career and work. Mars in your 6th house through August 11th gives you steady work momentum. The Pluto in your 2nd house all year continues to transform what you value and what you charge. The Capricorn Full Moon on July 29th may bring personal versus professional clarity. Many Capricorns are quietly reorganizing the relationship between what they do and who they are. Money. The biggest story of your year. Jupiter in your 8th house brings joint money expansion. The North Node arriving on Pluto in your 2nd house on July 26th begins the 18-month destiny corridor for personal worth. The South Node in your 8th house asks you to release overmerging patterns. The August 12th eclipse on Jupiter will be the major financial moment. Health. Mars in your 6th house provides steady work and health energy. Many Capricorns are using this period to begin or refine a wellness practice. Chiron entering your 5th house in June continues healing your relationship with pleasure and play. Many Capricorns hold their physical health in patterns of over-discipline that the 5th house Chiron is asking to soften. Home and family. Saturn-Neptune in your 4th house all year is the dominant home story. The Capricorn full moon in your 1st house may bring family-related personal clarity. The North Node leaving your 4th house axis on July 26th shifts the destiny focus away from home and toward your personal money. Now, my darling, take out your journal and your favorite pen. I want to give you a ritual you can do on July 29th, the night of the Capricorn full moon, your annual personal peak. This is one of the most important inner work nights of your year. The full moon perfects at 3:36 in the afternoon Pacific Time on July 29th, 6:36 in the evening Eastern Time, 11:36 at night London Time, and 12:36 in the morning Central European Time on July 30th. Wherever you are, do the ritual on the night of July 29th or the morning after. Find a quiet, grounded space. The kitchen table is good. A reading corner is good. Outside under the moon is best, if weather and life allow. Light a single charcoal gray candle and a single dark green candle. Gray is your color. Slate, stone, the color of mountains. Dark green is the color of deep earth. Place a piece of onyx, garnet, or obsidian beside them, your stones. Burn cedar, vetiver, or frankincense. If you do not have these, any candle and any earthy scent will work. Sit. Take 7 slow breaths. Then say, out loud, 3 times, I welcome my own emotional life. I welcome who I am underneath all my responsibilities. I welcome being received, not only providing. 3 times, slowly. Open your journal, write the date, then write the answers to these 5 questions, slowly, with the honesty Capricorn can manage when no one is watching. Question 1. What am I no longer willing to be responsible for that I have been responsible for too long? Question 2. What version of partnership did I decide to invite during the new moon on July 14th? And how am I going to act on that intention now that Mercury is direct? Question 3. What about my own personal financial life, separate from what I earn for others or share with others? Have I been postponing developing? What does the North Node in my money house want me to build? Question 4. What version of my own emotional life have I been postponing because I told myself I would feel things later? When is later? Question 5. Over the next 12 months, until my next Capricorn full moon, what is the foundation I want to have built inside myself, separate from what I am building for everyone else? Sit with each answer. Do not rush. Do not tidy. Then place both hands on your heart and say 3 times, slowly, I am allowed to be carried. I am allowed to receive. I am allowed to belong to myself. 3 times. Let both candles burn down. The annual personal peak has been honored. Let me speak briefly about rising signs, moon signs, and Venus signs. If your rising is also Capricorn, the full moon on July 29th lands on your ascendant, the most personally visible full moon possible. Saturn in your 4th house affects both your sun and your rising. If your rising is Aquarius, the North Node enters your sign on July 26th. The destiny corridor is on your ascendant. If your rising is Pisces, Saturn-Neptune left your sign. Relief. If your rising is Aries, Saturn-Neptune are in your sign. If your rising is Taurus, Chiron is in your sign. If your rising is Gemini, Uranus is in your sign. If your rising is Cancer, the Mercury direct station happens on your ascendant. If your rising is Leo, Jupiter has just entered your sign. Your once in 12 years renaissance. If your rising is Virgo, Jupiter is in your 12th house preparing for your big year. If your rising is Libra, Jupiter is in your 11th house. If your rising is Scorpio, Jupiter is in your 10th house, career elevation. If your rising is Sagittarius, Jupiter is in your 9th house, your sign. If your moon is in Capricorn, the full moon on July 29th lands directly on your moon, the deepest emotional reset of your year. Saturn affects your moon's natural sign. If your moon is in Cancer, the Mercury direct station happens on your moon, and the new moon on July 14th lands on your moon. If your moon is in Aquarius, the North Node enters your moon's sign. Emotional destiny opens. If your moon is in Leo, Jupiter sits on your moon, and the South Node arrives on your moon. Emotional release and expansion combined. If your Venus is in Cancer, Venus arrives on your Venus on July 11th, combined with the new moon 4 days later, your luckiest partnership window of the month. If your Venus is in Capricorn, the full moon on July 29th lands on your Venus. If your Venus is in Aquarius, the North Node entering your Venus's sign begins reshaping how you love through financial questions. Compatibility. The 3 signs most aligned with you in July are Taurus, Virgo, and Cancer. Taurus because the fellow Earth signs trine yours, and Chiron in Taurus in your 5th house begins healing pleasure and creativity. Virgo because the Earth trine continues. Virgos offer steady support during a complex month, and the South Node leaving Virgo on July 26th lifts a karmic weight from a long-running Virgo dynamic in your life. Cancer because Jupiter has just left Cancer, but the major Cancer transits, Venus, new moon, Mercury direct, bring Cancers into your partnership life. Be careful with Aries, where Saturn-Neptune now live in your 4th house. Aries family members may bring tension and continue to do so for years. Be patient with Libra, where the slow planets work in opposition to your home sector, and be diplomatic with Aries authority figures throughout the year. Saturn and Neptune in Aries continues to demand careful navigation. The sign that will surprise you, my dear Capricorn, Aquarius. As the North Node enters Aquarius on July 26th in your money house, an Aquarius will appear in your financial life as a generous, surprising new presence, a financial advisor, an unexpected business connection, a friend who introduces you to a money opportunity that did not exist a month ago. Trust the Aquarius. My dear Capricorn, before I let you go, 3 small things I want to say. 1. If any part of this video has brought you clarity, even one date, even one sentence, tap that like button. It is the simplest way to tell YouTube to bring this work to more Capricorn souls who need it tonight. So many Capricorns are quietly carrying too much and looking for permission to receive. Your like helps them find this video. 2. Subscribe and turn on the bell. Next month's video will be enormous. The August 12th eclipse on Jupiter in your 8th house is possibly the most financially defining day of your decade, and I am preparing a day-by-day breakdown of the entire eclipse week. You absolutely cannot miss it. 3. Write to me in the comments. My question for you tonight is this. What is the responsibility you have been carrying for someone else that you are finally ready to release? Gently, gradually, but really. Just one sentence. Other Capricorns in this comment section are reading these words and recognizing themselves. We are building a community here, and you are part of it. I read every single comment, truly. And one more small thing. If you know another Capricorn who has been carrying too much, share this video with them. You may not realize how much one share matters. It is how this work finds the Capricorn who need it. Thank you, my darling. This community is becoming something I never expected, and you are part of it. July 14th, July 23rd, July 26th, July 29th. Write the dates down. The stars are with you. The receiving year is opening. The Jupiter return to your 8th house is the universe's invitation to be carried instead of always being the one carrying. The North Node arriving on Pluto in your money house is the universe's invitation to develop your own worth, separate from what you produce for others. The Capricorn Full Moon is your annual reset to honor your own emotional life. Receive all of it. You have earned it. I am Madame Aurora, from Manhattan, and I love you, my dear Capricorn. I will see you in August for the most important video of your year.